by external activities. The pure soul, which is symptomized by consciousness, can be easily perceived even by a common man because consciousness is spread all over the body. The yoga system, as recommended in Bhagavad Gita, is to concentrate the mental activities internally and thus see the lotus feet of the Lord within oneself. But there are many so-called yogis who have no concern with the Lord, but are only concerned with consciousness, which they accept as the final realization. Such realization of consciousness, such realization of consciousness is taught by Bhagavad Gita within only a few minutes, whereas the so-called yogis take continuous years to realize it because of their offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord. The greatest offense is to deny the existence of the Lord as separate from the individual soul, or to accept the Lord as the individual soul as one and the same. The impersonalists misinterpret the theory of reflection, and thus they wrongly accept the individual consciousness as the supreme consciousness. The theory of reflection of the Supreme can be clearly understood without difficulty by any sincere common man. When there is a reflection in the sky on the water, both the sky and the stars are seen within the water. But it is understood that the sky and the stars are not to be accepted on the same level. The stars are parts of the sky, and therefore they cannot be equal to the whole. The sky is the whole and the stars are parts. They cannot be one and the same. Transcendentalists who do not accept the supreme consciousness as separate from the individual consciousness are as offensive as the materialists who deny even the existence of the Lord. I'll repeat this sentence again. Transcendentalists who do not accept the supreme consciousness as separate from the individual consciousness are as offensive as the materialists who deny even the existence of the Lord. Such offenders cannot actually see the lotus feet of the Lord within themselves, nor are they even able to see the devotees of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are so kind that they roam to all places to enlighten people in God consciousness. The offenders, however, lose the chance to receive the Lord's devotees, although the offenseless common man is at once influenced by the devotee's presence. In this connection, there is an interesting story of a hunter and Devarshi Narad. A hunter in the forest, although a great sinner, was not an intentional offender. He was at once influenced by the presence of Narad, and he agreed to take the path of devotion, leaving aside his hearth and home. But the offenders, Nalakuver and Manigriva, even though living among the demigods, had to undergo the punishment of becoming trees in their next lives, although by the grace of a devotee they were later delivered by the Lord. Offenders have to wait until they receive the mercy of devotees, and then they can become eligible to see the lotus feet of the Lord within themselves. But due to their offenses and their extreme materialism, they cannot see even the devotees of the Lord. Engaged in external activities, they kill the internal vision. The Lord's devotees, however, do not mind the offenses of the foolish in their many gross and subtle bodily endeavors. The Lord's devotees continue to bestow the blessings of devotion upon all such offenders without hesitation. That is the nature of devotees. Tan vaihi asad vrittibhir akshibhir pararhitantar manaso paresha atho na pasyan tudugaya nunam jete padanyasa vilasa laksha. O great Supreme Lord, offensive persons whose internal vision has been too affected by external materialistic activities cannot see your lotus feet, but they are seen by your pure devotees whose one and only aim is to transcendentally enjoy your activities. So who is offering these prayers? To the great Supreme Lord? The demigods. Who is describing all this? Who is describing? How many of you know? Okay. Jai Krishna. Maitreya is describing to and how did he start the description? He started from the creation. And from creation, how creation started? By the glance of the Lord. Then what appeared in nature when the Lord glanced? How many of you remember that? What appeared? Yes, Krishna Priya? Krishna Priyari. I'm sorry, Shama Priyari. Yeah.
Shambhu Tattva and Kal, manifestation of the Lord in the form of time.
Okay, and okay, then after that, what appeared?
Mahatattva.
Mahatattva. Very good. And then what appeared?
Panch Mahabhut.
After Mahatattva, what appeared? Yes. What appeared? No. After Mahatattva, what appeared? Yes.
False ego.
Very good. After Mahatattva appeared false ego. Then what happened? Who remembers that? Okay, Vishakapriya.
Mind and
No.
demigods.
No, false ego. Then what happened to the false ego?
When Mahatattva interact with Sattoguna,
Very good.
then mind and demigods.
Yes. Then the Mahatat, the Ahankar became influenced by different modes of nature. Right? So the modes of nature, and then what is the first influence? First influence was the mode of goodness. What is that called? What kind of Ahankar is that? What kind of false ego is that? Tejas, Ahankar. No, in Sattvagun, Vaikarik, Vaikarik Ahankar. And as a result of that, what happened? Anyone else?
Demigods appeared.
And what else? Mind and demigods appeared. So now, what did the demigods do as they appeared? Yes, Radharani? They started to offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And these are the prayers to the Lord. Why should one pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Why should one pray? Jad bhavo bhavita dhiyo manujas tathaiva samprapya rupa mahima sanajana bhusha. Samprapya rupa mahima asana yana and bhusha. When somebody becomes graced by these benefits. Rupa. Rupa can mean beauty or very special kind of situation. Rupa Mahima, greatness, glory. When somebody gets an exalted position. Asana. Asana means a seat. What kind of seat? Again, a seat of special position. Okay. Okay. A seat of special position. Like here the demigods, they got a special position. They got some very great exalted situation. They got a special position. They are the controllers of different affairs of the material nature. Now, asana, jana. Jana means vehicle. Like in our plane, we have bicycles, we have scooters, we have motorcycles, cars, aeroplanes. Sometimes we have those jans by which we can travel. So these are also benefits. But on a more higher plane, what happens? They also have jana. Like for example, who is Brahma's jan? How does Brahma travel? When Brahma travels, he travels on a swan. And how does different other personalities travel? They have their vehicles. And so these are called jana, and then bhusha, dresses. So aren't these signs of some sort of exalted achievement? Rupa, Mahima, Asana, Jana, Bhusha. Now how does one get that? One gets it by the mercy of the Lord. So that is, and when one gets this extraordinary position, extraordinary facility, extraordinary power, then what should one consider? Should he consider that he got it by dint of his own effort? In the material platform, that's the mistake people make. They think, oh, I made this. I went and I conquered. Therefore, I am the king. These things belongs to me. I am the in charge. Or I am a big political leader. I have become, or I am a big industrialist. I have become so wealthy. But when somebody becomes wealthy like that, when somebody becomes powerful like that, what should we understand? What should we consider? How does one become so powerful? How does one get such extraordinary facilities? How? How does one get it? By the mercy of God. So when one sees that way, when one sees that everything is a result of the mercy of the Lord, then what should he do? Then what should he do? He should remain thankful to the Lord and use the facilities in the service of the Lord. That's what happens in a civilized society. In a civilized society, that is what happens. One became a king, but he never thought that he is a king. He thought that he is only a servant of the Supreme Personality of God. And whose kingdom is it? Is it his kingdom or his father's kingdom? No. It's the kingdom of God. And he used to rule the kingdom as a servant of the Supreme Personality of God. So that is the real civilization. In today's world we see that people do not have that understanding. That's why today's society is not a civilized society, it's an uncivilized society. Civilized society means understanding the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishavashyam idam sarvam. Idam sarvam. All these. Who do they belong to? Ishavashyam. They all belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when one develops such attachment, when one develops such understanding, what happens? The first thing that happens is that he remains detached. If I think that all this is mine, then what will happen? I'll become attached. If I know that it belongs to somebody else, then what will happen? You will not remain attached. Like we notice, when you stay in a rented house, how do you feel? Priyavrata? When you are staying in a rented house, you become detached. When you build your own house, then what happens? Huh? Raghu Pandit? When you stay in your own house, you become attached. Because you think that it is yours, therefore. But if you recognize that even though you build that house, it is yours by all means, but actually it belongs to Krishna, then what will happen? You will remain detached. Now, is it necessary to remain detached? Because someday we have to leave everything behind. Like if we remain attached, then what will happen? We'll find it difficult to leave. Someday we have to leave, right? We all have to die. So when the time comes for us to die, and if we are attached, then what will happen? Our heart will be here. Although we'll be forced to leave, then we won't be able to leave. Our heart will be here. Then we may become a ghost and not leave the house, stay in the house. Or we can become a cockroach. We can become a rat. We can even become a snake and guard the house. Sometimes the snakes guard the house. Why? My house, don't come near here. So is it good? Is it advisable to be attached? No. So what is the best way to become detached? To recognize that everything belongs to Krishna and we are his servants. And if we recognize that we are his servants, then we will have the understanding he is my master and he will place me in some situation where I can serve him. I am his servant, so what I want as his servant, I simply want to serve him. So someday he wants me to serve here, someday he wants me to serve there. So wherever he wants me to go, I go. Isn't it wonderful? So this is the best way to become detached, and that's why we see in the history of India, so many kings have left their kingdom. So many kings have left their kingdom and went to the forest. And they were not ordinary kings. Many of them were the rulers of the entire earth planet. Like Maharaj Bharat. He was the ruler of the entire earth planet. Yudhishthir Maharaj was the ruler of the entire earth planet. So all these personalities, Maharaj Rishabdev, the ruler of the entire earth planet. Sasagara, along with the oceans. Not only the land part of the earth, but even the oceans, they were the rulers. That means the entire planet was under their control. So these were the personalities. They were so powerful, such influence. But then what happened? One day, just one fine morning, they just left home. Now, home means not a jhopdi. They are living in palaces. Thousands of people are serving them. They had an army so powerful. They had the opulence that even the demigods will become envious of. They had their wives, the queens, the most beautiful princesses. But they were not attached. Why? Because they knew Ishavashyamidam Sarvam. That is why it is important that we recognize that whatever we have, whatever glory, whatever achievement, whatever facilities we have, they all belong to Krishna. Nothing belongs to me. Nothing belongs to me. I'm a servant. What does belong to a servant? Does anything belong to the servant, or everything belongs to the master? But what does the servant do? The servant simply engages his master's property for the enjoyment of his master. And that is a devotee. Therefore, it is very important, it's always important to become civilized with proper understanding, proper knowledge. Civilization doesn't mean nice dresses, big houses, nice roads, big cars, nice facilities, comfortable life. That is not real civilization. That's a superficial. Like somebody may be living in a very, very exalted situation, but his mentality can be like that of an animal. Nowadays you see that most of the people, their mentality is no better than an animal's. What is the animal consciousness? Ahara nidra bhaya maithunancha. These are the animal consciousness. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And today's human beings are just completely engrossed in all these four activities. Just eating, sleeping, mating, defending. They think that's the goal of life. But that is not the human civilization. Human life begins with Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Let's inquire. Who are we? What everything is? What are you supposed to do here? What is the goal of our life? That is what we must be concerned about. Not just eating and sleeping. Main concern should be how to enhance our spiritual situation. How to become advanced spiritually, not physically, not materially. And that's why it has been pointed out time and time again in the scriptures that those who are too much involved, as in this prayer, the demigods are saying, those who are too much involved with the materialistic activities, they cannot possibly understand you. Offensive persons whose internal vision has been too affected by the external materialistic activities cannot see your lotus feet. They cannot see your lotus feet because they're blind. They're blind. In one way you can call them blind, or their face is turned away because they're looking towards the material direction, which is the external energy of the Lord. Then where is the Lord then? If we are looking in this direction, the external energy of the Lord, where is the Lord? The Lord is at the back, on the other side. So when our face is turned towards this way, can we see what is there? That is why there is a need to turn our face around. And to turn our face around, what we have to do? We have to turn our face from matter to Krishna. Now we are just completely concerned with matter. And what is the most effective way to turn our face towards Krishna? Yes, we are engrossed with matter. We can't help it. With our eyes we are seeing, with our ears we are hearing, with our tongue we are tasting. We can't deny that. The influence of the objects of the senses are there. The senses are dragging our Objects of the senses are dragging our senses. Dhayate vishayan pumsha. They are dragging our senses towards objects of the senses. So how should we turn our vision? The most effective way to turn the vision is whatever we are seeing, whatever we are experiencing, relate it to Krishna. Offer it to Krishna. And that is the meaning of Sankirtan. That is the meaning of yajna. That's the meaning of sacrifice. This is all that I am seeing, all that I am experiencing is in relation to Krishna. And when you do that, then what happens? Our consciousness will automatically turn towards Krishna. Although we are looking at this direction, our consciousness is changing because we are sthabor jangam dekhe na dekhe tar murti. He sees the moving and non-moving material objects, but he doesn't see those forms. He simply sees his worshipable Lord. That is how these objects can be used in the service of my master. And that is the position of a servant. Everything is used in Krishna's service. Yes, it's matter, but I'm going to use it in Krishna's service. Is it matter then? Spiritualized. Therefore, a devotee creates a spiritual world in this material, in the middle of this material nature, by engaging everything, by applying everything in Krishna's service. So that is the secret of transforming our material consciousness into spiritual. That is the secret of transforming or spiritualizing material consciousness, spiritualizing our consciousness. So demigods here are, just as they appeared, they are offering their prayers so that they can be properly engaged in the service of the Lord, so that they do not forget that He is the supreme controller, He is the supreme proprietor, and He is the supreme enjoyer. And that's why the demigods are offering their prayers. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Does anybody have any questions?
Guru Maharaj, like here the demigods are, just now you said that we need to relate everything that we see to Krishna. But this is not possible unless we have a very strong sense of love for Krishna. Otherwise, we always forget Krishna. So the question is, how do we develop that strong sense of love?
Tell me. How does one develop love? By knowing the person and becoming aware of his attractive feature. Say, in our day-to-day life, we see in the world around us, who do people fall in love with? Because of the attraction. Do you fall in love with somebody who is repulsive? No. So attraction. Now, how do we become aware of the attractive feature of the personality? Say Krishna. How do we become aware of his attractive aspect?
Hearing.
By hearing about him, by becoming aware of him. So, because we are not able to see him face to face, therefore there is a need to hear. So by hearing we become attracted. Like Rukmini. Rukmini just heard Narad Muni telling her father about this wonderful personality. She just happened to just overhear that. She fell in love. Right? And the result is, she wrote a fantastic love letter. requesting Krishna to come and rescue her, to claim her. She said, I have given my life to you. Did Rukmini see Krishna? No, just by hearing. So here, that's why Shravanam and Kirtanam are so important. Because Kirtanam includes Shravanam. When you speak, then you hear also. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, both are very, very important. Of these two, Shravanam is the most important. Hear from those who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the result will be there. Those who are in love with the Lord, hear about the Lord from them. Love is infectious, right? So you come across a person who is in love with Krishna, you'll also fall in love with him. Any other question? Yes, Kaminai.
This materialistic activities, you cannot see their lotus feet, those who are so much material activities engaged. So we have no experience of seeing the lotus feet of Krishna. So when we are preaching, are we not cheating? Because we have no experience of seeing lotus feet of Krishna. We are experiencing.
You see, when you repeat somebody in whom you have complete faith, when you repeat his words, then it's not cheating. Because you are repeating somebody who you have complete faith is not going to cheat anybody. Like for example, you got dysentery, and a doctor gave you some medicine, and you see that somebody also got dysentery, then what do you say? That, look, take that medicine. So you may not be a doctor yourself, but because you are repeating the words of a doctor, it will be effective. It will work. So that's why the most important consideration is faith. Faith in sadhu, shastra and guru. These are the words of scriptures. We may not have bhakti, but when we hear that Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakta mam abhijanati, only through bhakti we can get to know Krishna. And we tell others, although we may not have bhakti, we say that only with bhakti you can get Krishna. This is bona fide. Therefore, the repetition of the authoritative versions is also bona fide. Right? Okay, yes.
Seeing the lotus feet of Krishna, what is the difference with seeing the whole Krishna whole? With Prathana, but maximum emphasis on seeing the lotus feet.
Yeah, because the vision starts from the feet. First you see the feet, and then gradually you look upwards. So first you start from the lotus feet. Therefore, there's so much emphasis on the lotus feet. And because we are approaching him with a submissive attitude, it's better to start from the bottom. Therefore, there is so much emphasis on lotus feet.
Is it necessary to meditate lotus feet of Krishna in the heart to see lotus feet of Krishna?
Whether it's important to meditate in the heart, you can do that, but better still is to serve him. Because you see, when the consciousness is in the body, when the body is active, then you won't be able to meditate. You may meditate for 5 minutes, but the remaining 23 hours, 55 minutes, you will be doing something else. Therefore, it is better to use the body in the service of Krishna. And when you engage the body in the service of Krishna, then mind will automatically become fixed up. So you'll automatically meditate. Any other question? Is there any question? Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Sonny?
Maharaj, as you told that it is not good to have attachment, but sometimes it happens that our family members are not doing well, and we are very concerned about that. Particularly the child are not studying properly, and we are forced to take some action. And
You see, like some natural, as long as we have this body, some natural physical tendencies or body's nature will be there. Right? Like for example, we have the body, so we need to eat. Body needs food. So we cannot say we should not eat. But what we say, we should eat Krishna Prasad. So similarly, as you have the body and you are in the family life, there will be natural some attachment to your family members and friends. So you cannot deny those attachments. If you deny that will be artificial. But maintain that attachment with Krishna in the center. Make those attachments Krishna conscious. Then those attachments, like say for example, you are attached to your children and you are in love with Krishna. You understand that it's important to develop your love for Krishna. Now, if you love your children, what will you do? What will you do?
I will get nothing.
Huh?
I will get nothing from that.
No. If you love your children, shouldn't you also give them Krishna? If you have few crores of rupees and you love your children, what do? You keep the crores away or give the money to the children? Because when you love somebody, you give them something that you consider to be precious. Right? Now, is Krishna consciousness valuable? Is it valuable? Okay. And you love your children. What should you do? Should you give them Krishna? That's how you express your love to your children. Whoever you love, you give them Krishna. Because you know that to get Krishna is the most precious achievement. Yes.
I want to know about ego and false ego difference.
Ego means
difference between ego and false ego.
Ego means false ego. Ego actually means false ego. Ego means the perverted self. Yourself, you are a spirit soul in your real self. But when you forget your real spiritual identity, and the self is the servant of Krishna, when you forget that, then you become subjected to false ego. False ego means mistaken identity, which is the same. Ego and false ego is the same. Yes, Ansu?
One question from Prema Pallavi Mataji, USA. Guru Maharaj, please set my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. How do we spiritualize the situation we come across at work?
How do you spiritualize the situation you come across at work? Yes, you try to preach to those who are around you. Prema Pallavi, I know it is difficult. So that is the one thing that you can try to do. Try to give them Krishna, those who are around you in your work space. If that is not possible, then at least try to show your love for them by giving them Krishna Prasad or benefiting them in some way. And also you can consider that you are in this situation because your material situation is forcing you to be in that situation. You need a job to maintain your family, to maintain yourself. To maintain your family, maintain yourself, you need money. So you have to earn money, therefore you are in the job situation. So just if you cannot spiritualize that situation, then at least remain unaffected by that. Just tolerate that situation, knowing I can't avoid it. Like when one is in a prison, what can he do? He'll have to accept that situation and tolerate that situation. Similarly, the worst comes to worse, just tolerate that situation. And think that someday Krishna will make an arrangement so wonderful that you will be able to come to Ujjain and settle down here. Then you don't have to deal with those people. Okay.
Thank you, Guru.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.